Let's turn to verse 21. Verse 21 says, leaving that place, Jesus withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon. And leaving that place is the Capernaum near Galilee. So in Galilee area, Jesus was preaching, teaching, and healing to many of the Jewish people, Israel people. And they are now leaving that city to go to the region of Sidon and Tyre, which is about 40 miles away. And this is the town where non-Jewish people, Gentile people, lived when Jesus was there. So Jesus and the disciples left Galilee because they sensed that there's strong opposition and hatred from Jewish leaders to kill off Jesus. Every time that Jesus was healing people, teaching people, the leaders got together and said, how can we kill him off? Because we don't like that Jesus. We don't like his teaching. We don't like whatever he's doing. So it was getting too strong. They were about to kill Jesus. So they traveled afar to a distant city. And when they got to the city, I'm sure they were tired. 40 miles away. Not 40 miles away, right? And they traveled. And then, as soon as they got there, verse 22, a Canaanite woman from that vicinity came to him, crying out, Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. So this Canaanite woman is whom we're going to talk about today. And Jesus later on called this woman, saying, woman, you have great faith. And why did Jesus say that? What did she do that made him say, you have a great faith? The great faith in Greek, it's megas pistis. Great in Greek is mega. Are you guys familiar with that word, mega? Right? I think we all are familiar with that word or the root. Megatron from what is it? Transformer. Mega Million, right? From our billboards. And, megaton, mega whatever. It means great, and great. And Jesus is saying, woman, your faith is mega, is great. I've never seen a faith like that. And mega faith, that's why today's sermon is about a mega woman. Do you guys know what Mega Man is? The little bangya stuff? No? Okay. Mega woman. So how did this happen? What did she do that made Jesus say, your faith is mega? First, she had a demon-possessed daughter. In other words, this woman was a mother. So a Canaanite woman from that vicinity came to him crying out, Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering terribly. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering terribly. Now, suffering terribly meaning, and demon-possessed meaning, the daughter's body, mind, and soul, everything is possessed by demon. Have you seen a demon-possessed person? Anyone? They are freakishly strong. Even maybe a little girl like this, even a strong man like 3-4 people cannot hold her down. They're freakishly strong. They have their eyes are they look different, and they will scream at you. They will curse at you. She was doing all those things. Cursing at people, self-inflicting wounds everywhere, screaming at people. She probably didn't even recognize her own mother. But mother still cared for her. How horrible would it be if your own child is in this state? Demon-possessed. Cursing at you. Even at her own mother. People are probably cursing back at her, throwing things at her, running away from her. Who would want to embrace someone who is demon-possessed? A mother would. A mother could. And even when everybody said, she is cursed, I don't want anything, nothing to do with her. Let's just, go around. Let's not just, deal with her. I don't even want to look at her. But when everybody said all those things, her mother said, I'm going to cry out for you. I'm going to get help for you. I'll do everything to bring my daughter back. And that's exactly what happened. She cried out as soon as she saw Jesus in the area. Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering greatly. Basically, she is a Canaanite woman, not a Jewish person, Canaanite woman, out-of-town Gentile. But she apparently has heard of Jesus. Jesus, I've heard of you. You are the descendant of the King David, the great king that we've also heard about. Help me and help my daughter. So she began to cry out, she began to scream and threw herself before Jesus. But a very strange thing happens. Verse 23, Jesus did not answer a word. Jesus did not answer a word. Jesus did not respond to her crying. I'm sure Jesus heard the cry because the disciples came to Jesus. Jesus, hear her? Let's get rid of her. Let's tell her to go back because it's getting annoying. She won't stop. Let's send her away. Jesus just completely ignored her. Now, have you been ignored by somebody? How does that feel? It feels horrible. What? You ignore me? Who do you think you are? Well, I'm fine without you. I'm going to treat you the same. That's how we respond. If you don't care for me, I don't care for you. That's the response that we have. But she still came after him. Even after he said this. Jesus said this in verse 24. I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. Basically Jesus saying, she is not one of my sheep. I am busy with my own agenda, and she is not in my agenda, not part of my agenda. I don't have time to care for you, and I do not care for you. Now, didn't know that Jesus could be this mean, right? Jesus was being very, very mean to her. Maybe he was tired from all this traveling. But that's exactly what Jesus said. I don't have time to care for you. Therefore, I will not care for you. But despite Jesus' unwelcoming treat to her, she keeps going after him. She won't quit. Because mothers don't give up when everybody else gives up. Verse 25 says, the woman came and knelt before him. Lord, help me, she said. Lord, help me. So she didn't care what Jesus was saying. I still need your help because my daughter is in trouble. I need to bring my daughter back. So help me. Do you guys remember, or have you heard of this, the Korean ferry sinking 3 years ago? Right? 304 people died. And more than 260 people were high school students who were on their, trip to Jeju Island. Entire Korea has seen the parents of those students out in the cold near where the ship went down. They've been crying day and night for how long? Even until this day, after 3 years. They've been crying to wait for their children to be found because until now, few people are missing. The bodies are missing. And they've asked for help and they've asked for the truth, but no one from the government gave them an answer. But they're still out there after 3 years. Some people said, hey, that's enough. 3 years is enough. Hey, I've heard enough of your complaints. Why don't you just go back home and just forget? They said, are you crazy? Are you asking me to forget what happened? Are you asking me to forget my own sons and daughters? This is one of the big issues of our last president's impeachment, because this happened. Mothers would not give up. Parents would not give up. This woman did not give up before Jesus, even when he said, I don't care for you, I don't have time for you. She said this in verse 26. This is what Jesus said. It is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs. Basically saying, how can I give my time, my energy, my power to someone who's like a dog? I have my own children to care for. You're like a dog. What an insult, isn't it? What an insult. He is basically saying, you are like a dog and I have my own children to take care of. What would you say? Even if it's Jesus, what would you say? Did you just call me a dog? Because that's exactly what happened just now. Jesus, I thought you were better than that. I thought you were loving. I thought you were caring. And you just called me a dog? Huge hit on her pride, on her self-esteem. As a person, as a Canaanite, as a mother, I think it would be okay to say, curse you. Screw you. Who are you to call me a dog? Wouldn't you? But she took it. She took that huge hit to her pride, to herself. She took it. Why? Because of her daughter. Because her daughter was still sick, still demon-possessed, still screaming, still not back to herself. That's what mothers do. They would give up anything to bring their children back, to have them back. Years ago, when I was in charge of KM Youth, one of the students got caught in DUI, and he was in jail. So I had to go and to bring him out. And his mother approached me. He was a troublemaker. It was very obvious. It was very obvious to everybody. And his mother came to me and said, "전사님, it's all my fault. He's a good kid, but it's all my fault. I was going through a divorce. I didn't love him enough. I didn't care for him enough. It's all my fault." And I was like, "Ma'am, you don't need to apologize for him. It's not your fault." But she took everything on herself and said, "It's my fault. He's lovable. He deserves all the right things. I don't, because I didn't raise him correctly. I didn't love him enough." That's what mothers do. They would take any hit to their pride to lift their sons and daughters. That's why she said in verse 27, "Yes, it is, Lord," she said. "Even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table." Basically saying, yes, I am a dog. I will be a dog. I will admit it. Would you still hear my request? Would you still heal my daughter? I'll be a dog anytime, any day. And to that, Jesus said in verse 28, "Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted." And her daughter was healed at that moment. Now, if there's anyone, I think, the reason why this woman can do all these things despite of what Jesus was doing to her is because she was a mother. I don't think anyone else in this room could do that except for a mother. Through this story, through this woman, we can see it's a pure reflection of God's love through Jesus that was shown through her actions. First, mothers suffer when their children suffers. Right? What kind of mother would go to sleep snoring peacefully when her daughter or son is sick? That's not a mother. Mothers don't give up when everybody gives up on the children. Mothers will take blames and give up their own pride in order to uplift their own children. That's exactly what God has done through Jesus. He was suffering because his own children were suffering. His heart was aching because every one of us were in the sin, lost in sin. So he did not give up, but sent his only son. Throughout the Old Testament, there are so many instances over and over and over. We could say, you know what? The people of Israel, the Israelites, they don't deserve any better. They just need to be smite and just, fall straight to hell. But even after all those stories, Jesus said, you know what? I have one more thing for you. And I'm going to give my own son to you. And Jesus indeed came and took all the blame, took all the sin upon himself on the cross. And he died for our sins so we may have eternal life, so we may live again. That's exactly what this mother did. She gave up her own pride and called herself a dog. Yes, I am a dog, but would you give new life to my daughter? That's God's love shown through Jesus. And that God's love will be shown through every mother's story. And yes, that's our mom and your mom. I said that in the beginning. The closest thing you'll find of God's love on earth is your mom. Is your mom. I have a clip ready for you. And it's about our moms. So let's watch the screen together.